This is your debt that you have, and if you want to pay it off, you need to have cash to throw at your debt to pay it off. And there are two ways to get this extra cash. Either you can spend less money or you can earn more money. In either of these cases, this is going to give you a bigger margin because now you have your income and your expenses. Either you can increase your income or you can cut your expenses, or you can do both at the same time. This is going to give you a margin, which means you're going to have cash that you can use to attack this debt and pay it off. And the faster you pay it off, the less debt that you're going to have to pay because, well, the less interest that you pay. Because now the more you pay today, the smaller your principal balance will get and the smaller the interest that you're going to have to pay now because your balance is getting smaller. So it literally pays off to attack your debt sooner rather than later. This is where people try to get into the nitty-gritty. Should you follow the Dave Ramsey model, which is the snowball model, where you're paying off the smallest debt balances first and then you're gradually getting bigger and bigger and bigger? Or do you follow the debt avalanche method, which is now where you're paying off the highest interest rates first? It really doesn't matter. The key here is the more money you put in towards your debt, I don't really care which method you follow, the more money you put in towards your debt, the faster you're going to be able to pay this off. And once you stop having this debt, once you stop bleeding cash, now you could take this extra money, this margin that you have now, and put it to work to make you wealthy. Because when you get stuck in this system of constantly just having all of your money going out to pay your banker's the one that's getting rich, but you are now working to keep your banker rich. So you want to pay this off as fast as possible. That way you can use your money to make yourself rich. The second money habit that you have to master if you want to become wealthy is you have to know, how do you spend the money that you have? Because we live in a society where you don't have to be able to afford something to be able to buy it, because you can buy pretty much whatever you want thanks to the help of credit cards and lines of credit and buy now, pay later. But that's going to put you right back into the problem that we just solved, is how do you pay down the debt? Because now when you're just buying things that you can't afford, well, now you are going to spend tomorrow's income paying off your yesterday's expenses. So what you want to do now is you want to understand the difference between being able to buy something and being able to afford something, and then spend your money based off of that. Dave Ramsey said it the best. He says that you need to act your wage. And the way that you can do that, the simplest thing that you can understand is my rule of 5 when it comes to your liabilities, which are not necessary to you living your life. And that means in the rule of 5, if you cannot buy 5 of them, you cannot afford 1 of them. The third thing that you have to understand is, how do you invest your money? And when I say how do you invest your money, I don't mean putting your money into your 401k or your IRA. If you're doing that, fine, but that should be the very base. That should not be the tip and end of your investments. You need to be investing your money yourself. Now, if by this time you realize, okay, I suck at investing my money, I hate investing my money, then maybe you can consider getting some sort of financial advisor or money manager to help you with that. But if you don't, now you got to figure out how you're going to be investing your money yourself. And what you're going to realize is, maybe you're going to like stock market investing. Maybe you're going to like real estate investing. Maybe you're going to like cryptocurrency. Maybe you're going to hate stocks but love real estate. Maybe you're going to do something like that, but you have to understand, how do you invest your money? And this starts with the basic education of understanding how you get paid. Because the way you get paid is going to dictate how you invest your money. Because you can get paid from cash flow, which I'll label CF, or you can get paid through appreciation. And this is when your investment value goes up. The reason why I love investing in real estate is because I can get predictable cash flow from my real estate. So the way it works is, once you buy a property, whether it's a home, an apartment complex, whatever it is, you buy this property, you own it, and now you're going to rent it out to somebody else, and somebody else is going to be living here. I'm going to draw this person right here, draw him a nice mustache, or as we like to call it in my native language, Punjabi, a much. This person is going to be living in this property, and then they're going to be paying you rent every single month for living in your home. Now the nice thing is, once you understand the ropes, once you understand how it works, it's going to be very passive on your end. Like, I don't know who my tenants are. I don't get involved with the day-to-day maintenance. I'm not involved with paying the bills. I have a property management company who the tenants deal with, and they do all of that work A to Z. But what they also do is make sure that I get paid. They deposit this money into my bank account. Now, of course, the property management company takes a fee, right? They're going to charge you money, so your rents are going to go down a little bit, but it gives me back my peace of mind, it gives me back my time, because now that I own the asset, this asset can generate me cash flow forever, as long as I own the asset and as long as the asset exists. And now I'm getting this cash flow, because now, if you could think about it in terms of stacking assets, well, for me, I know that every house that I buy, it might put between $500 and $700 into my pocket of profit every single month. And so now it's just a game. How do I stack more? If I have 10, that's 5 to 7 grand of cash flow every single month, essentially passive, that I don't have to go and work for. If I can get 100, I know it's going to seem really far away. How in the world can you get 100? Because that's very hard, but that would be $50,000 to $70,000 worth of cash flow every single month. Now the question is, how do you put it in action? How can you buy 1 a year? And then as you start to grow, maybe 2 a year. And it's all about putting the plan in action, because the hardest one is the first one. But this is one way that you can get paid, is through cash flow. The second way is through appreciation. Appreciation is when the value of your asset goes up. The fourth habit that you have to understand is, now how do you save money and where do you save money? So the basic end of this is, you got to know how to live below your means. By the time you're 40, you have to know how to spend less money than you make. But you got to understand then when and how do you save money, and when is it right for you to spend money? Because when you save your money, well, there should be a reason. And what I like to say is that you should be saving money for one of 3 reasons. You should be saving your money for an emergency, you should be saving your money for an investment, and you should be saving your money for big purchases, and that's it. If you're not saving your money for one of these 3 reasons, then you are not saving your money smartly. So every saving dollar that you put aside needs to have a strategy and a reason to be saved. Now when it comes to your emergency savings, you want to have somewhere between 3 months and a year's worth of expenses saved, depending on what your risk tolerance is. If you hate the idea of taking risk, if you don't like the idea of investing, then put aside a year's worth of expenses in your savings, because that will even cover you through the worst case scenario, and then invest everything after that. But if you have a higher risk tolerance, then maybe you only need 3 months worth of savings put aside. But then this also goes to, now, how do you now save strategically when it comes to your spending? Because in the beginning we talked about spending your money when it comes to most of your expenses. But now as you start to become a little bit more financially savvy, as you start to build wealth, you want to be spending your money the smart way, and not just saving every penny because, well, you can. Because the ultimate goal of having money is to be able to use the money, because if you don't use your money, it doesn't give you any value. So now the question is, how can you put your money to work and use this in a way that's going to give you the most benefit? Like, one thing that you can do, which is what wealthy people do, is they use their money to buy back their time. So if there are things that you hate doing, maybe you don't like going to get groceries. I hate going to the store. If you don't like going to groceries or getting groceries, you don't like cooking your own food, well then now you can use your money to pay somebody to do that. Now there's an added cost there. You got to pay somebody to get your groceries. So you're going to pay a premium for that. If you're going to hire someone to cook for you, there's a cost to that. But you're buying your time back. And now as you're on that journey to build wealth, you have to start valuing your time. If you can pay somebody $25 an hour to cook for you, and your time is worth $50 an hour, well, you just bought your time back and made a profit. And this brings me to number 5, which is, you need to know how to protect your wealth. Because now as you start to build more wealth, what you're going to realize is, when people realize that you have money, they're going to try to take their hand, put it in your pocket, and take some of your money for them. And you will see this in a number of different ways. Maybe people will try to sue you. Maybe it'll be in the form of taxes. Maybe it'll be something else. But this is where you have to know how to protect yourself legally and financially by building shields around yourself. And I'm telling you this from personal experience. Like, my first real estate deal ever was the most difficult and probably one of the biggest headaches. Now, it was a profitable deal. I still own that property today, but I learned a lot from it. And my first tenant also sued my real estate company because the claim was that my bathtub in that property was too slippery when the water was on. So the claim was that because they would turn the water on, the bathtub would get so slippery that it caused this person, one of the tenants there, to slip and fall. And because of that, they were suing my real estate company. Now, the interesting thing was, then the reason why I have a property management company is because they document everything. They refused to let my contractors in after that happened because they said that there was a chip in the paint on the bathtub, which was about the size of a quarter. So that chip of paint, they said, contributed to the bathtub being slippery. However, they did not let us make that repair. And second, they'd also admitted that the reason why they don't want anyone to make a repair there is because the person who slipped fell at a barbecue playing some games, and that's where he got hurt. And so because he fell at the barbecue, that we can't come in there. So we had all this documented, so it was a frivolous lawsuit. The judge threw it out. However, it was something that I had to go through and learn, because in America, you can sue anyone for anything. It's just the way the system works. So how do you protect yourself? Well, for one, if you're investing in real estate, or if you have a business, you want to have a legal shield. Maybe you create an LLC or an S Corp or maybe a C Corp, depending on what your company is. You got to talk to a tax professional or an attorney in your area. Most of the time, probably an LLC or a S Corp is going to do the job for you. And then once you have your business entity set up, you also want to make sure you have insurance. You got to have insurance for your property, your properties. You got to have insurance for your business. If you own a business and you have employees, you got to have separate insurance for that. So you want to make sure you have your different insurances set up. Have health insurance for yourself. Have health insurance for your family. Have your insurances for your property, your personal property, your car, your home. You know, all these things are not fun to have. Maybe you have life insurance as you're working to build your wealth. Life insurance is something that can provide you the sort of bridge insurance as you're building your wealth and owning assets, because your goal should not be to rely on your life insurance to take care of you or your family. Your goal should be for your assets to take care of you and your family. So that's one of the things that you can have set up. And then you want to make sure that you talk to an attorney, an estate planning attorney. An estate planning attorney is going to help you now understand how do you put all of your assets together. That way, whenever your time comes, because all of us have a limited time on this earth, how will your assets get passed on? Maybe you have a will, maybe you create a trust, maybe you do some other sort of fancy estate planning, depending on how much wealth you have, on how you can start planning to pass your assets down to somebody else. So these are things you need to plan for. If you enjoyed this shorter clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to invest your money in real estate, our team put together an amazing guide on real estate investing. This guide goes over what real estate investing is, how to start using real estate to generate cash flow, and how to build wealth with real estate. This guide is completely free when you sign up for our daily newsletter. So if you want to read our guide on how to start investing your money in real estate, you can download that guide just by clicking that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.